Claro que rico.toro. Rico el Toro. And the L tonight stands for the loss that the Giants just took to the Washington football team. Shout out to the DMV. All right. I'm not a real serious or hardcore Washington football team fan so much anymore. I liked them when they were the Redskins because I just think we're overboard with a lot of political correctness in America. So, I understand the flip side of the coin, got a little Native American blood, enough in the DNA. So, here's the thing. For the most part, that was an interesting back and forth game. Anybody really won. Whoever had the ball last was going to win. That's how I figured it. But for the most part, sports is just entertainment to me now anyways. So that's why, I'm just joking. I don't talk a lot of big smack about a football game unless I have money on it and win a lot, which happens every now and then. Just a random bet. Straight up, nothing fancy. Sometimes I win. All right. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about, expats, retirees in the future. What would you do if Sosua, your plans to move to Sosua, change? Or should I say the new Sosua, let's say there is going to be a new Sosua, is just too much for you. Too much, too different, whatever. I mean, I'll be the first to admit they've been talking for 15 years about how Sosua is going to change, how they're going to redevelop or develop the beach and create a little strip mall and move all the stores and vendors restaurants that are currently there, how they're creating the new red light district, how they got the Marriott, how it's basically going to be Punta Cana 2.0. It's one of those things, I believe it when I see it. I've said this before. Things can take anywhere from 5 months to 15 years to finish. Any plans, they start, and it could change several times before the project is completed. So, a lot of things I'll believe it when I see it. And, part of the reason that I just think about this is because, I have a handful of friends that, they tell me 2 years, 4 years, 7 years, 10 years, I'm retiring and moving to Sosua. And so sometimes, you have to contemplate and wonder what their other plan may be. Would it be move to a different part of Dominican Republic? If Sosua becomes just too weird and, Punta Cana-ish, would it be move to another country? Brazil, Thailand, Colombia. There's a lot of things to think about. Every now and then it's good to I think it's good to look up lists. Google lists, the lowest cost of living retirement, countries. Just different expat, friendly retirement countries, different visa laws. That's another thing. Every country has its own laws regarding the visa process or residency process. Colombia, for example, BMT, Black Man Travels, he could give a lot more probably details on this than I, but I do know that like Colombia's visa process is a little more restrictive. They don't let you come and go like DR and just stay a long time and pay your overstay. From what I understand, they do, it's a little more limited, the time period, the duration. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 6 months, I don't know. And maybe they're doing more background and investigation checks every time you apply for that. Income is a factor. An expat friend of mine, it's been here for like 7 years, retiree, and another friend of mine, mutual friend of ours in the States, that's retiring in a few years. They were having a conversation about Colombia. For one of them brought up Colombia, but then it turns out that Colombia would cause them to get double taxed on their pensions. You'd get taxed by the United States, and in Colombia you would have to report what's called world income. I think it's called world income. Don't quote me on the exact terminology. So it would make it a little bit, granted, the kind of pensions that one has and the other will have, should not. I look at that as like chump change they're taking, but it's not my position to decide what's too much. So that's another thing to think about, though. Visa requirements and taxes, etc. So, beside that also is like you got guys now that, some of the big Colombian, travelers, and I think even BMT's, I'm not sure if he's still in DR, but he came to DR once or twice recently because Colombia is just too crazy with all the protests going on and just different things going on. And most recently, sadly, a guy was killed on vacation, allegedly. Probably, I think the story is that some chick probably drugged him, put something in his drink, which that happens there. It happens. I think that's probably more commonplace in Colombia, Argentina, maybe Venezuela, Peru. There's more setups in some of those Latin countries. There's more setups between just like, I think the aggressive, just the girls and the taxi drivers, and there's much more. They're a little bit more sophisticated. I don't want to say sophisticated, but maybe they plan out these things a little more, and these type setups. Now on the flip side, I don't discourage anyone from traveling, just be on, to anywhere, because life is short. Why live in fear? Just try to use common sense and be on your P's and Q's, and have good instincts. Go with your instincts. If something tells you, if basically when in doubt, don't do it. When it comes to traveling, J-Rod just put up a video about this, about safety and Latin America being unsafe or dangerous, and he had like some excellent travel tips. So some of y'all might want to check that out. He had some excellent travel tips for when traveling, and which were, I could tell he planned and thought that out well. So, and then recently I think there's a picture going around of a young lady here that has been missing. I don't know. I haven't checked the news today. Nobody's sent me any news today, but it's been like 10 days now that she's been missing. And last story was that she and another young lady left envy with a couple of guys for one of their villas, and I've heard some questionable things about the young lady, not being necessarily the most, up and up, if you will. And I've also heard some questionable things about the gringo that may or may not have been involved in whatever happened that evening, which we know what it probably is now. So just some things to think about. A little bit of news. That's just news a little bit. The stuff going on, the violence and stuff. And, bless the families of those that are dead or missing. And, but yeah, like as future expats, guys should think about like, where will I go if Sosua doesn't meet my expectations when it comes time for retirement, time to move? It could be, who knows, it could take a left, and things with these plans now could take a hard left, and it'd be back like the wild, wild west of the early 2000s. Who knows? Or they could be like full steam ahead. They have too much invested to turn back now and really on to making it to New Punta Cana or whatever. I mean, like I say, it's good to be flexible and agile, because I know some guys are like, I'm just going to flat retire, collect my pension. Other guys are like, that aren't pension guys, are just on some 4-year, 5-year plan or something. They're like, I'm going to come buy some land, and I'm going to make a putt-putt golf course on it, something they don't have here. Don't take that idea, actually. That would just come up that on the fly. Might be a good one, but don't take it. It's mine now. So, or they might be like, I'm going to have a barbecue restaurant. I'm going to have, open another car rental place, black car service, or whatever. Entrepreneurial pursuits or investments they're planning. So I just think there's some things to think about, tax situation, just what if all the changes do. I'm not saying this to make anybody like squeamish or nervous or worried. I'm just saying, man, it's good to be flexible and think about like, what if? And my answer, since I am here, how long I'll be here, I'm still figuring it out. I'm living life day to day, still figuring it out. All I can say is I am thinking more and more about moving outside of Sosua itself. Soon as I have a little more flexibility, soon as I can, right now my number one thing is my health. And which basically, I'm just real quick, y'all that don't know, I got back problems from many years ago, and all of a sudden lately it's been affecting my walking, my leg strength in a major way. So that's why if you see me, I'm all upper body and little legs. It's because of the injury effect. So I'm taking care of that before I make any major moves. But I am thinking about sliding outside of Sosua a little bit. So anyways, hope you enjoy that. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that sub. Be good. Stay blessed. Rico Toro. Out.